Today I want to talk to you about how to know when to form a new LLC for your business. And I don't mean like you're just starting out and you're thinking, should I start an LLC? I'm talking about a situation where you're thinking maybe you need to form multiple LLCs for your business. Ready? Let's do this. So if you're a growing entrepreneur and you've got a business started, maybe you already have an LLC in place and you're doing a bunch of different side hustles and you've got a bunch of different websites that you're building and things like that, you might be thinking, do I need to actually set up a second LLC? Or maybe multiple LLCs to use for the revenue for each of those particular businesses. I see this all the time. This is a question that comes up from clients all the time on strategy calls with me. They call and then they say they want to start a holding company for their business and they've got all these ideas of things they want to do, but unfortunately they've never really done any of those ideas. And what I mean by that, I mean they're not really generating any revenue. And this is all too common. I get these people that are just so excited about their business, and I will tell you, I'm all for that. Like, I get excited for my clients too. I love it when my clients are successful and they're building businesses. And I remember what it was like to start my first business, and it's super cool. And you've got all these ideas. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna need an LLC for that, and an LLC for that, and an LLC for that. No, you don't need an LLC for all those things. Chances are you probably just need one LLC. And I will tell you that when I get this question from people who call me up and they're like, Jim, I need to have a holding company. I want these other LLCs. My typical gut reaction is, do you really need that? And I will push back on people. If you've had one of these calls with me, you know I will push back on you and I will challenge you. I'll ask you why it is that you think that you need a holding company for your business that you're running out of your living room right now. And if you're running a bunch of little side hustles, or maybe you're starting a little YouTube channel and you've got another YouTube channel and you're just trying to build those YouTube channels up, or maybe you're starting a store on Shopify and you're trying to build that up and you've got maybe a couple of them, or maybe you've got a combination of all these different things and you're thinking you need to have an LLC for each one of those businesses, chances are you just don't. There are situations where you actually may need to have a second LLC. And so today what I want to do is I want to share with you my story of why I started a second LLC for my businesses. The beginning of 2022 was when that LLC went into effect. So I've done it, it's been about almost a year and a half now since I've had two businesses that I run. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I think a lot of people get confused and think that they need these second LLCs when in fact they probably don't. So I want to share a little bit about my story. But first, a little quick cup of joe. I've got my Portugal mug today. Oh, and I also have a little Portuguese tile as my coaster. Today, I've got a different problem than the dogs. The dogs seem to be behaving themselves. What I do have going on today is a family full of, or a household full of children over there who are trying to drive me nuts by making noise while I'm recording videos. And the reason I think that this is so important today to talk about is because I just see so many people that waste so much time, waste so much money setting these second LLCs up, and then they don't really ever do anything with them. So let's do a little bit of backstory here. So I started my YouTube channel back in like 2015 or so, and I've had my law firm since 2005 was when I first started practicing law on my own as my own attorney, as a solopreneur. And that was in Florida. And then we moved to North Carolina, at which point I shut down my entity, my business entity that was in Florida, and I started a new business entity after I passed the bar in North Carolina for the Hart Law Firm, which is my main law firm, my main driver of income for my businesses right now. And I had the Hart Law Firm has been in place ever since then, and then I started the YouTube channel, and primarily I started the YouTube channel honestly as a way to just deliver some information. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen of it. My goal was not to make money. My goal was not even really to get clients. Honestly, I was going through a difficult point in my life. My mom was sick with cancer and then ended up passing away in 2016. And so I was just looking for something to take my mind off what was going on with me personally. And so that's why I started the YouTube channel. Fast forward a few years, the YouTube channel is gaining some traction. It's getting some views, it's getting some subscribers. And I actually, at some point, realized I could turn on AdSense revenue. I didn't do that right away. I know a lot of people are like, oh, got to get to 1,000 subscribers to get that AdSense revenue. I actually, that was like the furthest thing from my mind. I think I had 8 or 10,000 subscribers before I actually realized that was a thing, and I turned on ads for the channel. And so it started off making a couple $100 a month. Then it started going to, a couple $1,000s. Eventually it was a couple $1,000s a month, and now it's more than that. And so the business started to grow. The YouTube channel, I should say, not the business. The YouTube channel started to grow, and it did actually start to bring clients to my law firm. Fast forward to 2020, we all know what happened. COVID happened, and at that point, since most of my clients that I was working with my law firm were local-based clients who came to meet me at my office and have in-person meetings, and we went to court and we did mediations and we did all those things, none of that could happen anymore. And so what I did at that point is I developed a course called at the time it was the Online Business Legal Toolkit. It has since been rebranded to the Lock It Down Legal Toolkit, which is a course that basically teaches people how to start and build and legally protect their online business. And you can find it at obfoundations.com. I'll include a link down in the description below if you're interested. We still sell it. So I started that course, and it did really well. And that course kind of morphed over the years into kind of a coaching program and a membership, which is what it is now. Now we have a monthly membership that we have people in where we do weekly calls and things like that. And that is, again, all derived from this YouTube channel. This all came from the YouTube channel. And then around the same time, at the end of 2021, I started an online legal template store called One Stop Legal, selling legal templates. And now that is doing reasonably well. We have some good months and bad months, but that is generating additional revenue. I'll probably do another video here in the next couple weeks talking about the different revenue sources for my business, both from my law firm and this other new business that I created. And so now we have a situation where, and I started to see the writing on the wall at the end of 2021, where I had my law firm that was doing okay. And then I had this YouTube business thing that was getting income from YouTube AdSense revenue, from coaching and membership clients, from course sales, from affiliate offers that we were selling, from my legal template store. And so we had like 5 or 6 different revenue streams coming in. And at the time, this was all going directly into the law firm. And so I sat down and I thought about this, and I ultimately made the decision to set up a new LLC for all this other YouTube related stuff. That even though, yes, it was driving clients to my law firm, it still was kind of on its own, doing its own thing. So why did I decide to start this second business? Well, I think it goes to what I always tell clients is one LLC per business, right? Now, if you're just getting started and you've got a bunch of little side hustles going, that's a different situation. And maybe you don't need to form an LLC for all those little side hustles. But if you have a business that is selling widgets, right? And it's doing really, really well, and it's kind of standing on its own, selling widgets. And then you have another business that is selling, that you're doing personal consulting, services, coaching, that's completely unrelated to the widget store, then chances are you probably want to have 2 different LLCs. And that was the situation that I found myself in. I had the law firm that was offering legal services. I had the YouTube business that was generating revenue in a bunch of other different types of ways. And so I decided that I really need to have a separate LLC for that. And the reasons for that, aside from the fact that they were 2 separate and distinct businesses, in addition, there were tax reasons. Now, with a law firm, there are tax, well, with any type of business that you own, there's a tax deduction on self-employment income. But that deduction is capped for lawyers at a certain dollar amount. And so if you earn anything over that, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the tax deduction. Versus if it's a non-lawyer business, there is no cap on that deduction. And so my initial thinking was, okay, the law firm is continuing to grow. I'm going to hit that cap on income, and I don't want to have a tax problem. If I have these 2 businesses together, it's going to grow a lot faster. I'm going to hit that cap much faster, and then there's going to be tax drawbacks to having them all in this same separate entity. And so for that reason, I wanted to put all my YouTube earnings into this category because I knew that there would be bigger tax benefits to having it in its own LLC. So that was reason number 1. Reason number 2 was because of the liability concerns. Now, yes, the YouTube channel, there's not a whole lot of liability associated with that, but the law firm, potentially there could be. And that's why we have malpractice insurance. So I, knock on wood, knock on wood, I guess, I don't know. I've never been sued for malpractice, but a lot of lawyers have said they've never been sued for malpractice, and then something goes wrong and they get sued for malpractice. And I didn't want that, if something like that were to happen, or something were to happen from a liability standpoint with the law firm, I didn't want that to then be able to take money from the YouTube business. And so that was another concern. I wanted to separate those two businesses from a liability standpoint. And then the third reason is really more of an ethical reason. And that's because I started having all these students and clients that were working with me through my courses and just on YouTube in general, I wanted to make sure it was crystal clear to those people that I was not their lawyer. And so if they didn't sign an employment contract with my law firm, then I wanted to make sure it was clear that I was not representing them as a lawyer. So those are kind of like the three reasons. So once again, there were tax reasons, there was the liability reasons, and then there were the ethical reasons to doing it. Now, is it a pain to run two separate businesses? Yes. Does it cost more money? Yes. Do you have to keep two sets of books and all these things? Yes. And so for those reasons, if you do not have two separate and distinct businesses, I do not recommend setting up a second LLC for your business unless you have a legitimate reason to do so. And if you want to talk through that, I'm happy to help you understand why you should or shouldn't have a second LLC for your business services. It's not always an easy decision. That's what happened with me. This is the way it all shook out. But with you, it might be a different situation. It might be a little bit more complicated. Obviously, what I said here in this video is not legal advice. I should be clear about that. So I'm not your lawyer unless you actually hire me to be your lawyer. Cheers, have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care, folks. Have a good one.